Suddenly, she caught sight of a figure hobbling along the edge of the clearing, a bent old woman leaning on a walking stick. Her tattered robes dragged in the dust. Zuri's instincts sparked caution, but her compassionate heart took over. Rarely did anyone else venture into this remote part of the forest, so it was unusual to see a lone traveler, especially one who appeared frail. "Grandmother," Zuri called, stepping closer. "Are you lost?" The figure turned slowly, revealing a deeply lined face, watery eyes, and quivering lips, though beneath the illusion, Kamali's heart thundered with triumph. She had found Zuri at last. Feigning a fragile cough, the disguised queen croaked, "Bless you, child." These old bones got turned around on the path. "The forest is a maze to me." Zuri placed her gourds aside and approached, concern etching her features. "Come, rest under this tree. I have water." She offered the elder a small drinking cup from her pouch, a courtesy she had learned from the guardians. Kamali, stooping even more, pretended to sip the water. Inwardly, she fought the urge to smirk. So far, her disguise held. She reached into a tattered woven basket slung over one shoulder. "Thank you, dear girl," she wheezed. "I have something for you in return. A token of my gratitude. I've carried these sweet fruits across many leagues, would you like one?" From the basket, she produced the Marula fruit, its glossy skin golden in the sunlight. The tangy sweet scent wafted towards Zuri, making her mouth water. But a trace of weariness remained. She recalled the guardian's warnings about strangers. Still, this was just an old woman, hungry and tired. What harm could a single fruit do? Zuri hesitated, then accepted the offering. "Thank you. That's very generous." Kamali's pulse raced. One bite. That's all it would take. Yet just before Zuri raised the Marula fruit to her lips, a rustling in the bushes startled them both. Faraji emerged, arms full of fish he had pulled from the traps. His gaze fell on the stranger, and he stiffened. He had never seen an old peddler woman in these woods. Caution flickered in his expression. "Zuri," he said quietly, "who is this?" "I'm not sure," Zuri replied, turning to him with the fruit still in her hand. "She said she lost her way. She gave me this as a gift." Faraji set down the fish. "We should bring her to Mama Kolila," he said, trying to keep his tone neutral. "She'll know if all is well." Kamali cursed inwardly. Time was slipping away. If that old crone of a healer examined her, the illusions might unravel under suspicion. She had to act now. Rasping a forced laugh, she stepped back, lifting her walking stick defensively. No need," she croaked. "I must be on my way. But please, enjoy the fruit for my sake." She shot a final glance at Zuri, daring her to bite. Without further ado, she feigned a clumsy retreat into the forest, leaning heavily on her stick as she disappeared into the undergrowth. Faraji moved to follow, but found only thick vines and towering trees. The woman was gone. Zuri frowned, still holding the fruit. "It looks so delicious," she admitted. "It might be fine," Faraji said, "but Mama Kolila told us never to accept food from strangers in the forest." The two carefully wrapped the Marula fruit in a spare cloth, deciding to show it to Mama Kolila first. As they headed back, Zuri's heart thumped with a mixture of relief and apprehension. Something about the encounter didn't sit right. Little did she realize just how narrowly she had escaped Kamali's trap, and how determined the queen would be to strike again. For now, the forest's old spirits watched silently from the shadows. Zuri's story was not destined to end here. The guardians had unknowingly thwarted Kamali's first attempt on the princess's life, but a darker trial lay ahead, one that would test Zuri's strength and the bonds of friendship she had forged in this hidden realm of towering baobabs and whispered legends. The forest clearing glowed with the golden light of late afternoon as Zuri and Faraji returned from their encounter with the disguised Queen Kamali. Worried by the strange old woman's sudden appearance, they hurried to show the suspicious magula fruit to Mama Kalila. One glance at the glossy peel was enough for the wise healer to sense danger. She spoke quietly of dark magic and venomous potions, her seasoned fingers brushing over the fruit stem where a faint, toxic residue clung. Zuri's skin prickled with realization. Queen Kamali must have come here under an illusion, prepared to end her life once and for all. Although Zuri had narrowly escaped, she knew her stepmother's cruelty would not rest until she had triumphed or been stopped. Mama Kalila destroyed the fruit by casting it into the fire. The acrid smoke that rose was enough to make everyone's eyes water. An ominous sign, indeed. That same evening, Kwame and the others gathered in their hut to discuss what must be done. They had come to love Zuri like one of their own, an industrious girl, quick to learn, humble despite her royal birth. Letting her walk blindly into Kamali's next trap felt unthinkable. Yet to storm the palace head-on would be an equally grave risk, for Kamali's command over the ebony mirror granted her fearsome powers. "I have to return," Zuri murmured, her voice steady despite the tears brimming in her eyes. "If Kamali has lied about my fate, she is free to rule my father's kingdom unchecked. My people deserve to know the truth. I cannot hide here forever." She looked at the guardians, who nodded in reluctant agreement. The forest dwellers did not fear difficulty. Their entire existence was one of balance and harmony with nature's challenges. If Zuri felt it was her destiny to reclaim her place, they would stand by her. Their plan crystallized. They would travel secretly at night, using trails unfamiliar to the palace guards. With Johi and Kioni scouting ahead, they could slip through side gates at dawn. At the heart of this plan lay a single objective: confront the queen, reveal Zuri to King Ekundayo, and break Kamali's hold over the kingdom. On the chosen night, the party of 8 slipped quietly out of the forest. Torches or lanterns would have drawn too much attention, so they relied on moonlight and the guardian's expert knowledge of the terrain. Branches snapped underfoot, and now and then, a distant owl hooted, but otherwise the journey was silent. Eventually, the spires of the Marula Kingdom's palace broke the horizon, their outlines faintly illuminated by torches atop the outer walls. As dawn lightened the sky, Johi spotted a lesser-used entrance behind the granaries. One by one, they crept inside until they were deep in the courtyard, ducking behind tall earthen jars and weaving through lines of drying maize. Zuri's heart pounded at the thought of seeing her father again, and at the peril that awaited them if Kamali discovered their presence. But fate had other plans. Even as they neared the throne room, a cadre of guards leaped forward, led by none other than the remorseful tracker, Sanusi. Alarmed, Zuri's friends braced for a fight. However, Sanusi made a show of lowering his spear. "Princess," he whispered hoarsely, bowing. "I owe you my life. The queen would kill me if she knew I had spared you. I will help you see your father, but we must hurry." Hustled through marble corridors, Zuri could scarcely breathe. At last, they burst into the grand hall. King Ekundayo, surrounded by advisors, startled at the sudden intrusion. A hush fell, broken only by the echo of footsteps. When the king saw his daughter, alive, grown, and trembling with emotion, his eyes brimmed with tears. He rushed forward, arms outstretched. "Zuri," he cried, voice cracking. "My child. I thought I had lost you." Before father and daughter could embrace, the ornate doors at the opposite end of the hall slammed open. Queen Kamali swept in, her face twisted in fury. Gone was the kindly facade. She raised her hand, and a swirl of dark energy shimmered around her. Palace guards tensed, confused by the spectacle. Then, from beneath Kamali's robes, she produced the ebony mirror. "You dare return?" Kamali snarled. "I will not be robbed of my throne." Energy crackled in the air as she invoked the mirror's power. "Mirror, mirror, in this ebony frame," she chanted, "aid me and bring this child to her final doom." A pulse of darkness rumbled through the hall, knocking several people to the ground. Yet Zuri stood firm, the guardians rallying around her. Mama Kalila, fear flashing in her wise eyes, reached into her satchel of herbs. She flung a handful of pungent powder into the air, protection from malevolent spirits, taught to her by generations of healers. A gust of wind swept across the throne room, scattering the powder in swirling patterns of golden sparks. Kamali shrieked as the ebony mirror surface began to splinter. The swirl of protective herbs clashed with her dark incantations, unraveling the illusions she had so carefully woven. In a flash, her reflection cracked, echoing through the chamber in a deafening rattle. Shards of glass fell to the floor, and with them, Kamali's remaining power fractured. She collapsed, wrecked by the consequences of her own forbidden magic. King Ekundayo hurried to Zuri's side, tears of relief streaming down his cheeks. The guards, stunned, rushed forward to restrain Kamali. The ebony mirror, once the source of her deadly envy, lay in ruins. In the hush that followed, father and daughter finally embraced. Within hours, word spread throughout the Marula Kingdom, the princess had returned, alive and well, exonerating the palace tracker, Sanusi, of wrongdoing. Queen Kamali's villainy, at last exposed, led to her banishment from the land. Through the courage of Zuri and her loyal companions, the Marula Kingdom was spared further suffering. A grand feast was declared, a celebration of reconciliation and renewal. Zuri's forest guardians were honored as heroes, though they humbly wished only to return to their cherished trees and streams. Before they left, Zuri embraced each one, tears of gratitude in her eyes. "Because of you," she said, voice full of reverence, "I have lived to see my father again. I will never forget your bravery, nor the lessons you've taught me." This African retelling of Snow White teaches us that kindness, humility, and unity can triumph even over the darkest envy. Queen Kamali's jealousy consumed her and led to her downfall, whereas Zuri's gentle spirit and the Guardian's steadfast loyalty preserved what truly mattered: love, life, and the well-being of the kingdom. In a world that often tests our hearts, we must remember that compassion shines brighter than any desire for power or admiration. Thank you for joining us on this extraordinary journey through the Snow White tale, retold with the vibrant spirit of Africa. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more enchanting folktales, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another episode. Drop a comment below sharing your favorite moment or lesson from Zuri's adventure. We can't wait to hear from you.